In this video I'd like to discuss some upcoming changes which are planned to be made in Vigilantes version 19. These are fairly sizable but beneficial changes, and rather than just making them, we'd like to keep you posted and involve you in the decision making process. Now, these changes concern two related areas: pacing and the character system. To start out with pacing, feedback from testers has indicated that combat pacing is one of the key areas we need to tackle, and this is our own experience. Is very much the same. We feel that the combat just simply takes too long to resolve. So currently, depending on the danger level of the tile, your party size, which enemy you're facing, you could face up to 15 enemies, resulting in a total of 20 characters active in combat. This is basically far too many for 20 characters to have to act for one turn to end. It also creates a situation where maybe 10 enemy characters get to act between your characters being able to act, and it could create a situation where you could have a character knocked down and there's just nothing you can do about it at all. We do want to retain the feeling of being an underdog and being outnumbered by these vast criminal organizations, and there will be bigger encounters, but we just feel that every encounter shouldn't be a big one. Now, we have looked at pacing in the past, things like speeding up animations, the movement speed, reducing the amount of dead time between turns and actions, but there's you can only bring this so far. So I think the obvious way to tackle the problem of pacing is just to reduce the number of characters which are active in combat. If we look at, say, the current max of roughly around 20, if we can reduce this to, say, 12, it will almost half the amount of time it takes to resolve a turn. So we think this would vastly improve the pacing of the game. It'll make it more engaging, more interesting. Now the next area that we'd like to look at is the character system. So obviously, if we're going to start changing the number of enemies that you can face, reducing them, we're going to need to balance the enemy strength in relation to the player strength. It's a good time to look at the character system. The existing character system gives you 1 stat point per level, a perk every second level, and this was largely set up with testing in mind. It allows people that are testing the game or want to jump in and just try out, see what's changed. It allows them to build characters quickly. Now we're getting fairly close to a Steam early access release, so it's time to start looking at a final system. One of the problems I had with the old system is that it allows you to get very high stats across the board. If you can hit, say, level 30, you're going to have very high stats and everything, and it basically allows all characters to be all things. No character will have a kind of a specified role or something that they're considerably better at than other characters. It bloats HP, and which further contributes to the length of combat. So the plan with the character system is to introduce a sort of a 3-level cycle. So for every 3 levels, you get specific things. Now if we start to say the first level character reaches level 2, we'll give a stat point when you hit level 2. We'll give skill points when you hit level 3, and you get a perk when you hit level 4, and then level 5 you get a stat point, 6 skill points, 7 perk. So that we're looking at a 3-level cycle. At first, you may be thinking that, hold on, we had 3 stat points per 3-level cycle. This seems a very extreme cut. I think it's also worth considering that facilities have also been introduced, and they give you can also get 6 extra stat points for each party member. So if it turns out that this is too severe or doesn't really allow you to kind of build the characters, we'll look at adjusting it. There are other ways. There will be potentially perks that can increase your stat points, or we can look at introducing an additional stat point at, say, level 10, or every 10th level, every 5th level. I think there are some advantages too to splitting skill points from stat points, because previously you didn't get any points at all. This will allow you to customize your allies a little more. Previously you could customize them to some extent by applying your stat points, but this might have involved putting stat points into things you didn't necessarily want. Some of the stat points didn't result in any skill increases at all, so we're looking at maybe 4 to 5 skill points to allocate on the kind of the skill gain part of the cycle. So as I said, this will allow you to customize your allies. It won't allow you to customize them completely. It'll allow you to kind of, you know, maybe address a weakness they have, to customize them for a certain role. Maybe you want them to be the character that helps you to pass the bypass check, or maybe you want them to be the interrogator of the party, or maybe, you know, they're good at shooting already, but you'd like, you know, them to be more reliable at high distance for, say, a sniper. So I think adding skill points will increase party customization. Moving on to the perk. There will be 50% less perks in the game, but one thing that has been brought up about the perks is that they don't really have that much impact. There are a lot of them, but they don't have that much impact. So if we cut down the number of perks, we can make them more powerful. I'd like to move on to, you know, the advantages of making these changes. Less combatants in combat will significantly reduce the amount of time that you spend in combat, and you're going to be spending quite a lot of time in combat anyway. So I think this is, you know, this will substantially improve the game. It will make it more engaging. Skill points will provide greater customization of allies, which had fairly low customization before. It'll encourage more strategic party building. Every character won't be able to be good at all things. Now, we don't want to kind of create a situation either where a party member is really only good at one thing. So, I mean, you will be able to, say, make a ranged character that's also a good medic. You'll be able to make a melee character that's good with explosives, a ranged character with leadership abilities, a melee character who's, you know, also an interrogator, and there will be further variations within these categories. The last thing is that characters are the most complex thing to render, so by reducing the number of characters, we'll be reducing the performance requirements of the game. So all around, this seems like a fairly strong set of advantages. Now, I can understand if you've been playing the game and, you know, suddenly you've less stat points, but this will be it will be balanced in relation to the enemies. So, you know, the difficulty will be roughly the same. You might need to choose your stat points a little more carefully. So apart from that, I don't see very much in the way of disadvantages. But this is something, you know, I'm very open to getting your feedback on it. You know, if you have any comments, if you have any questions or observations, please let me know. And, you know, this will affect you know, how we proceed on these things. So thanks very much for watching, and I do look forward to talking to you about this.